Just doing a quick sound check. Everybody hearing me all right? All right, I've got the sound fixed. Let me know that we've got it. Thank you. Sign language, please. That's pretty funny. All right, we're going to try this again. You can hear me, right? Let me know. Okay, awesome. Just want to make sure. Apologize. Anyway, I'll try to restart where I was coming from. It was actually really good what I said a few minutes ago. But a couple things that I want to address, and I think it's important, the importance of my work, my channel, what I'm doing for you folks is super important to me. And I've seen some comments, and maybe rightfully so, that my doomsday, it's called, I see it's starting to be a thread going before you folks start making memes of me. But the doomsday video I did on Friday. So that video was done Thursday night, and those are things that I saw, and I reported them as I always do. On Friday, I did a live stream, and we watched that last few minutes. We saw almost a 50 handle rally into the close. I said, whoa, that was impressive. That sets a different tone. So we spin forward to Sunday. I feel I need to do this. So no one said sell the market on Friday's close. No one said short it right here. This was my expectations that we would go down to 3,100 and down to maybe 3,000. I mentioned some big numbers like 2,700, and folks have been quoting. I said the market's going down 20%. Never ever said that. Okay, I didn't say that. What I said is if certain events happen, this would be the projection. Those events have not happened. Okay, so when we come into Sunday night, and I thought we would rally potentially to R3 weekly, which was 33.73. I thought that was a stretch. I'm going to be honest there. And we exceeded that. And I knew we were going to have the reason why we coined the phrase, election mania, had no idea how accurate that was, right? And so what's happened is every day, keep updating, the market grid is blowing up, the volatility is expanded beyond this. So you folks use Bollinger Bands. You ever see the market trade above Bollinger Bands? Of course you have. Have you ever seen this happen? Yeah, when those events happen, it does mean something. Now, this is the second day in a row that we're above RXT. I'm going to go through all these things. And when the volatility blows up, I saw it blowing up. Here's what's going on. I didn't think we'd get to 3,500. Here we are. We're looking at 35.18 on SPX at this very second in time. Now, we can look back at events. 35.89 was the high. 35.49 was the last high. Now we printed, I'll bring up the exact number. I think it was 20 something and change. So maybe this is yet another top. We'll go through all these things, but I want you to know that I saw this thing coming. Didn't see it as big as it is. I'm going to admit that. I appreciate that everybody thinks that I am perfect. I am not. And I am always addressing the different movements in the markets. So as it goes, and I told you about the last two nights, we're getting traction on our models. A lot of things are happening very, very quickly. And these are uncharted waters. This whole year has been uncharted waters. So when we see this volatility blow up, it has to be paid attention to. After today, the market grid numbers are going to blow up, and we're going to probably form what I call a dragon head, and we'll see how this all plays out. But this is some crazy volatility, especially in the NASDAQ, and this is what it is. So what I wanted to bring up the screen today for, and I just want to address it because people, I have been in front of a lot of people. I will admit that I don't know, we get probably 20,000, 22,000, I think, average views per day on videos. That's a lot. A lot of people looking at me. Some more sophisticated, some of our institutional clients, and some of you folks that I've met that are very on top of these markets. So I just want to acknowledge that I know what's going. I'm not trying to hide from anything. This is the markets. That's the way they always are. And if you don't think I've not had a couple bad trades in my life, you're wrong with that. Now, I've tried shorting this thing 3 times, right? I took out, I had some residual trades that I covered on the open this morning. Yesterday on the live stream, I talked about that, where I covered the bulk of my shorts, and the smart thing I did was I was short, and when the election was going on that night about 5 a.m. New York time, I covered it. My shorts were working, so I covered them. Okay, and then I tried to reposition. So yeah, it's been a mind-boggling rally that's gone through all of the RXT numbers on the daily, the weekly, and we have to go to the monthly. And those of you that have the service, I'm going to unpack all of this because I want you to understand what's going on. As this is, this thing stinks to me. I'm just, what we're going to go through it is trying to make a very quick turn. I don't know that any of us know what's going on. With the election. Thanks, Dustin. I appreciate that. But yeah, so I'm going to show up, man. I'm not bashful. I care. We run a lot of money. We do a lot of things here. This is not a YouTube game channel. We have businesses tied to this. We have other people's money tied to what we do. And most of our models, if you're a WaveTech customer, you're all right. You got everything you need. I think one of our fans out there, Troy Maddock, I'll quote him, is like, hey, just get WaveTech. You don't have to figure out Bob's analysis. That's why we put it out there. So, that's what this channel is about. And I've told you folks, and I've delivered, this has been a Bobathon this week, okay? The Bobathon has been me being live crazy. We've had a couple weeks like this before. It's Thursday, and I might be live again tomorrow after tonight's video. So we'll continue to go. So I just want you to know. And for some reason, we can't get Jay on the chat to moderate and to do some stuff because, I don't know, I joke with him. What is it? Snap, boy, I can't. Snap-a-rhythms. I butchered that, but thank you. And Joel G, thanks a lot, man, for the super chats. But yeah, let's dig into what we need to talk about today. But I just, the best that I could cover this, I don't think, we got the RXT sell. A lot of us talked about that. Stan, thank you, man. I appreciate that. There's kind of we'll talk about the dragon because I bring it up a lot. I'm trying to find the time right now. There's probably about 10 videos that I need to do. And I did get somebody in the community reached out to me. I haven't noticed them online. Yeah, that's funny, Eric. I told Jay, I think I accidentally banned him. So it was pretty funny. I banned my own son. That's not a good sign, is it? Anyway, we were joking about it just a few minutes ago. But yeah, so let's go ahead and dig into some stuff of what's going on. Oh, wait, is that you, Jay, on that? Yeah, let me just, I got to see if I can do something here. Bear with me. All right, Jay, you should be a moderator again. He had to set up another account, so that was the joke. So let's go into live charts here. Let's take a look and see exactly what's going on here the best we can. maybe this was fate. Let's just start with gold. I talked about gold blowing up into that 1940 level. Man, did it ever? We blew through all the weekly numbers, everything. I saw it set up. I saw that setup coming in, and boy, it just blew up today. And as exciting it is, we could trade as high as 1968 in gold. We've seen a high so far, what, today, 54, so that's not a lot from here. But that pattern, I've been talking about it for a while, has just been a sideways pattern that's going to turn into a raging bull at some stage. So let's go over to the S&P because I want to hit on that, and I want to get to the I want to get to all of the indices first before we go there. So let me just clean this up. So you can see this is a weekly ES chart, the E-mini, and the RXT number, let me get to the right point. Our RXT number is 3406. We're trading 3510. This thing is just completely blown up. 22 high on the futures, and the low was 3428. So we've had a 100-point range today. So yeah, that's let me try that again. 100-point range today. Okay. So this kind of volatility we've not seen since March. I mentioned the other day that I thought maybe what was going on here, and I've seen a lot of this actually. I've seen where people are talking, I'm not doing anything till after the election. So elections are over. We still don't know who the next president's going to be. We still don't know exactly what's going on. You know, here in Arizona, 600,000 votes haven't been counted in Maricopa County yet, you know, and, you know, I don't know what that means, but, you know, it's just crazy how everything got disrupted with all the mail-in votes and all that. So we don't know who the president is. I don't know. If somebody, you know, has an idea of what's going on here with these markets from a fundamental standpoint, maybe, I don't know. The only thing I can tell you is last night's video, I talked about those continuing claims numbers. They were 7.7. I said, I think they'll come in under 7 million today. They did. And I thought that would be bullish. I think that added some logs to the fire here. Okay. Because that is that's a bullish number. That number is going to continue to drop, folks. The economy is getting better. 6 million, 6.9 million is a lot of people. It's still historic in nature, but you never shut down the economy before. This isn't because of economic conditions. This is because somebody flipped the switch off, and there's a lot of folks that didn't want to flip it back on. And I also saw another story that the largest number of COVID cases ever reported was today. So, and we're up 2%. No one cares. Why? Because it's not killing anybody on a relative basis. I actually have 2 people that I know that have died of COVID, but they were old and had other issues. And we didn't want to lose them. It could have been the flu. It wasn't even 100% related. They just tested positive. And I know those cases to be real. One of them is a family member. So I get this stuff, right? But people do this all the time. JTA producer, man, thank you. I appreciate that. In fact, I'm going to call you later today. So anyway, this is what, why it's so darn confusing trying to figure out exactly what's going on here when you try to connect the dots. And sometimes fundamentals don't matter. Sometimes this is just all emotion, and emotion in markets is never good. People just are stampeding, like it's like the FOMO is full on right now. And I have a video, as a matter of fact, that you can watch it if you go to the Portfolio Expert website, and there's a video there that is, it says watch video. Watch that video. It's actually a video we made several years ago on FOMO. I've kind of restructured it a little bit, but what that video is about is the fallacy that people think you have to be involved in markets. And anyway, watch the video. It'll be fun to see how many hits we can get on that. Yeah, so yeah, we're still, I'm just looking at some of the comments here. Yeah, emotion in the market is good to play. That's fine. You know, I would, you know, about 40% of our long-term database is still long, and now we're seeing the short-term database come on. So, you know, this thing still stinks of a sideways trading range. Even if we print a new high, there's going to be sellers. With the uncertainty, you don't know who the president's going to be. You don't know what things are actually going on as far, yeah. So yeah, this is a trade. Yeah, I don't know. I saw a report 6.9, Dustin. It's 7.2. I thought I saw the report. But anyway, but that number will continue to go down. It will be ultimately under probably 4 by the time we come in the first quarter next year. Yeah, I think today might be a hamburger day for sure. Yeah, so yeah, but the thing that's happening here when you see this, you know, this is when I look at a chart like this is a very unorthodox chart. There's a lot of noise in it. Noise meaning random movements. This is a weekly. Let's just go down through the spectrum so we can see what's going on here. And I'm just going to get off the screen so we can just go through this step by step. So we're going to go up to the next level. And here's the thing that I wanted to point out. On the market grid for November, what were the possibilities? R3 50 3510. I thought that was far-fetched. RXT is 3586. So that's basically a retest of the high. That's the extreme for the month. We're still having an inside month. I talked about this on a live stream yesterday, and that is definitely what's, you know, as far as the market action goes, this still is in that sideways range. It's still locked in the monthly grid. And when I talk about that, this thing can reverse and go back down to the 3,200 as fast as it got to 3,500. That's the kind of things we're dealing with. Okay, yeah, thanks. Okay, it says non-seasonal adjusted job numbers were 6.95. All right, that's where I got that number. Yeah, A. Martz, that's an interesting comment. So we'll have to another time. We'll have to talk about Mando. Maybe I'm gonna do possibly do a Saturday morning chat like I did last week. We had several hundred of us hanging out, and we actually had live Zoom so we could actually talk. It was fun. So maybe we can talk about Mando on Saturday. But yeah, so when we look at the monthly grid, this is R3's 3510. We printed 22. This is the This is the futures. Let's switch this chart over to the cash. Let's go to SPX on the same chart. Let me just get rid of a couple of things here. So now when we go to RTX here, 3578 is the RXT, R3 3505, high 3529. So we've exceeded R3. Last month's high was 49, 3549. So we're still within that range, and even if we print above it, this I'm going to draw in some stuff, and this is what I believe we're going to see going forward. And I haven't done this for a while, but I think I think this is how this thing will unfold here. We've talked a fair amount about this. This is like a big, this what part of the hypothesis that I put out on Friday is that what we're going to see is like some kind of ABC, and then maybe we could print down toward this moving average down here, which is 2,700, but it's rising. So this range you'll see on it right here is that moving average range on the monthlies. And a lot of times we'll get way above these things like this and we'll crash back into them. They're still positive. PPMs are all positive. I'm drawing in arrows here so you can see exactly what's going on. And I'm going to erase all this stuff and I'm going to draw in another set of lines, but I think we remain. This market grid is not going to change. This is for November. We might see a slight tilt like this, but this thing is going to remain pretty much in a range like this. I don't think we're going, I'm not sure. Yeah, I guess this, I don't think we're going all the way off the map like up here. We could. PPMs are very, very strong. 0.91 over on the left here, 1.14, 0.90. These are all robust trends. So the underlying trend is substantial, but the support numbers off of this is way down at 3,000. Okay. So let me just clean this up. I think we'll stay in range bound in some kind of pattern here. I don't know, ABCX, ABC, big, giant, broad pattern trading sideways. That's what I think we'll see. If we did print a new high, we'll see. Well, I don't see the probabilities there, but we're not far from doing that, right? We're 60 handles. We're one more day like today from actually doing that. So we could do that tomorrow. Okay. Yeah, and I'm sure there is, Alan, a lot of chat about the melt up. When that kind of a lot of chat starts happening, probably time to take the other side. But I'm not suggesting that. I just think that this thing has gotten really frothy. We're printed up here again. Maybe what we end up is these three highs here for the month. We have the high in September, 35.88.11. The high in October, 35.49. Now right now we have a 35.29. We'll see where this ends up. All right, I'm just looking at some of the chat to see what you folks are talking about. So I had a thought. I was talking to somebody this morning. I had a thought. What will the news networks do if they don't have Trump to troll? If Trump loses, what are they gonna what are they gonna do? How many of these people are gonna? I mean, Trump has kept the news lines and all the mainstream media going for 5 years now, so it's gonna be interesting. What the hell are they gonna talk about? Utopia. Maybe that's what they'll talk about. All right, so let's break down what I've got here on this chart. I think I can stay on this chart and keep this in perspective here. But as we go down the stream and we go down the scale and we go to the weekly chart, you see how messy this is. This is not, there's not trends involved here. Let's keep going down. Let's go to daily. And when you start to look at this, I'll pull this over just a little bit so you can see it. This is the same. We get these big sharp rallies up, and then they stall. So this is going to be really interesting. Yeah, I didn't see Paul's comments today. I apologize. I will go through it later. I have been just really busy this morning. Last night I had a shit ton of trouble with the market grid getting to work right. It disrupted everything, got the video out late. I was up till, I don't know, 4 or 5 a.m. New York time this morning. So, but yeah, so I will go through, I'll watch his statements and see everything. Anyway. But as we look at this, I want you to look at this pattern. Let me get this off screen so you can see it. So now we're going to go to the next level yet. Now we're going to keep drilling down, and we're going to look at the hourly chart. Look at this piece of shit. I'm sorry. But this thing is just weird. Gaps up, goes down, gaps up, goes down, gaps up. We've got 1, 2, 3, 5 of these things. And they're almost completely symmetrical. When I was looking at this, I thought, what is this, right? There's no trends and then a consolidation and another trend, none of that. Just stair steps. I mean, that's a perfect ladder. So yeah, we'll have to see. We're actually trading down at the low end of the market grid on an hourly basis right now. The 10-period moving average, it'll be, we don't have long to go. We only have about 12 minutes. So we'll see if this thing can stay above 3,500. But like I said, this thing to me stinks. I don't like it. And I'm looking at PPMs on hourly, but if we keep going down, this thing gets weirder as you go down the scale. So now we go to a 30-minute. Now you see the stair step here. If you see what it's like, there's a gap on the open, gap on the open, gap on the open, gap on the open. Each day, sideways to drift lower. So very strange. And this goes, right to this thing started on the 30th. And this was Monday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday here. So every day, gap higher, drift, gap higher, drift. And I talked about this on the live stream yesterday, is that a lot of what we're seeing is most of the activity is happening in the evening session. So you want to talk about a time to manipulate markets? Think about this for a second. So all this buying comes in and they bid the, they bid the NASDAQ up almost 3% last night. For what, right? What was going on? Primary markets closed, but they're bidding this thing like crazy. and they're doing it on reasonably low volume. Now there's 2 million contracts. Let me go to the E-minis here just so we can see this. Now, see, the E-minis don't have that same formation because they're running almost 24 hours, but it's similar stair step. Let me go back up the scale a little bit here. So you have a much different pattern that's unfolding here on the E-minis because they're trading, but you're seeing that overnight activity, then during the market session fading into the close, jump the next day. So that pattern is going to end. Is 5 days that started on the 30th? Is this going to be where it ends? You know, so I did buy some about 2 hours ago. I bought some SPSX puts. I'm sorry, SPS calls, and so we'll see if that works. I'm playing the downside. We'll see how that all plays out. But for right now, I think this thing is getting really close. It doesn't make any sense. There's not a lot of substance behind it. We're gonna, you know, I'm gonna see what the models tell me today, and I'll go with that on tonight's video. This will be the last video for the week, and if necessary, I'll come back live again tomorrow. Yeah, I bet. Yeah. Tanyi, I'm sure, man. I'm sure that's they have the same rhetoric for the full range of tools. That I bet he even said we have lending powers, not spending powers. I bet it's just the same thing over and over. Well, SPX goes up when the market goes down. SPXS. I'm sorry, I didn't get the S. So, yeah, someone says they're going to jam into the close. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know why, but I've been doing that all day. I think most everybody's been on the long side. They're moving up right now. We'll see how it plays out. Looks like they're going to try to form a dragon head here with 8 minutes to go. So maybe we'll watch this this form here, and I'll talk a little bit about that formation. Yeah, Mr. Richardson, that's all they have is cliches, but they are also taking action. Yeah, I'm just reading Science 2491's comment here. Yeah. Let's see. Tanyi G can't see. I can't do it. I'm an American. I can't speak anything but English. I don't. Yeah, Gino, good luck with that, man. Not with my money. I'm not buying up here. Not at the moment. Okay, I'll do that, Ken. All right, so yeah, just watching the close. We got 54. You guys have been hanging around the WaveTech meetings. You'll know that we have the magical bell. The bell actually will ring on the close now because the time zone is done. Let's take a quick look at Bitcoin. And I've been talking about Bitcoin's this thing's going to 23,000 plus. Okay, I've been telling everybody that. This is really, really important. We're up 788. And it's even done well when the markets were off a little bit. It's on a mission of its own. This is 60-minute. Let's just go to the weekly chart right now, and we're actually above the RXT weekly right now, and going to squish this down a little bit so we can see more of this chart. And I mentioned that the our last model buy was at 11,000 about 4,000 ago. But when I put on the Fibonacci projections here, yeah, so, but yeah, Bitcoin will definitely go towards some of these objectives. The minimum on this Fibonacci projection tool I put up right now would be 343, which we're about to trade into. 16,063 will be your next resistance point on Bitcoin. So we'll watch this. We got about 4 minutes to go, 3.5. So we'll just stay here. I'll go off screen so we can watch it close, and I'll look at your comments, and we'll do some things after this thing closes up. Yeah, so this is almost a classic dragon. That's what I was setting up. And there's two forms that a dragon will take. And one is where we get it'll roll over. I call it the spitting dragon. And it'll roll over. Sometimes it'll go up into the range and then roll over. So these are usually negative formations coming in. This is a 1 minute graph. So we're starting to see this thing maybe fade just a little bit, not a lot. But this pattern. So you can see this is the let me draw the dragon for you, because people keep asking about this thing. So here's the dragon's head right here. This is perfect. His neck. And typically what will happen, all of these regression lines will roll over and you'll start a downward movement. A lot of times it will test the most recent low pattern, something of that sort. So that's one of the things that the dragon tells you. Let me take this off, see where we are. The other pattern is that sometimes it'll turn up a little bit. We're getting a little downward pressure here. They get it under 3,500 here. There might be some liquidation, but it's acting pretty stable at the moment. We have only 1.5 minutes to go. As you know, the last 2 minutes of the live trading gives you a lot of indications of institutional activity, buying, selling on the close, and then right after that happens, you're going to see the pattern that if there's any liquidation or things that happen after that. So they're going to try to bid it here. 750. We're printing up toward the higher end of the grid here. I think I can bring that on screen. Yeah, so R2 0725, we're trading right at R2 right now. 0508 is, let me update this. Yeah, uh, 3508.25 is R3 right now. 725. We're trading 4. Now we're down at 450 S1. There we go. That was the close. So there was some decent selling coming in right at the close. Now this is the next 2 minutes. We'll chat about this and just watch the next 2 minutes. I'll come on. We'll talk about a couple stocks and I'll bail and do the video. But it looks pretty stable so far. We printed the low print during the close was it did print down to 01, and now we're just kind of stabilizing 04, 34 in that range. So we're just about in through the first minute. A little bit of selling coming back in. If they can take out that 01 low, then we might see some selling, and maybe the futures can get underneath 3,500. Not sure they're going to be able to do it. Yeah, so all right, not much activity. I'll come back on screen here. One of my first people when I was on Chicago Board of Trade told me something, that the way that you look at a position every day is an interesting viewpoint. I always looks at it good. Once the market closes, and when you have to ask yourself the question the next day, if I didn't own it, would I buy it today? And you have to ask those hard questions every day, especially when you're doing discretionary trading. So if you didn't own this market, would you buy it here? And the reason why I said that, it causes you to look at your position and say, okay, if I do own it, would I, that same question, if you wouldn't buy it here, then why do you own it? So he used to challenge me all the time on that stuff. Like, okay, you like this position? Yeah, why? Okay. Would you buy it here again? Yeah. Okay, stay in. It was an interesting way to look at things. Yeah, I don't know, Mike. The RXT is just blowing up with this volatility. We're going to see it come in line tomorrow. So maybe it will be a super RXT number. I can tell you can go through a lot of charts. You won't find 2 of those in a row. And it's definitely, this will be a learning experience, to say the least. Yeah, I think Mr. Richardson, that's an interesting comment, because sometimes you find yourself doing that, and that's why when we finish the hangout on the election, they're just printing down. I thought, do I want to wake up and see what this thing's doing? And the answer was no. I'm glad I didn't, because I just took off, cleared the books, and sometimes that's okay to do, those are, and when you have those kind of thoughts, maybe you lighten up. And one of my old buddies, Artie, he had a nickname. We called him Artie Blotter. That wasn't his real name, so I'll protect, even though that was 20 years ago. But he used to always say, if you're celebrating a trade, you better be selling. And it's celebrating only with a S, sell, S-E-L-L, braiding, not, not, yay, look at me, how smart I am. If you're feeling really good about something, then you probably shouldn't, you should be doing something. And he always says, sell a little bit so you trick the market gods so they think you got out. So, interesting. And it really is about all of our psychology. And I've went through some of these things before. Um, so, I'm just trying to look at the chat here. But yeah, it's just, you have to, I've said this before, when you're doing discretionary trading, you're looking at stuff, I don't care, trend lines, PPMs, listening to me, and you're making a decision about that stuff. It becomes very subjective. And there's times when we all know we're wrong in a trade, and it's how you respond to those things. And it's okay to be actually wrong. And in fact, if you're a good trader, you'll be wrong more than you are right, believe it or not. The folks that make money aren't the ones that have the highest percent. Like when you see on the internet, we're 90% right, get the hell away from that shit, because that is total bull. That's hype. When, like if you look at the Wave Tech, if you sign up for Wave Tech and those type of things, a lot of these models are 40, 55% accurate, 50-50, right? But the way you make money, and I've been teaching this for a lot of years, is you make money. This is why I've told you folks on live streams before, you need to keep a log and look at all your trades and see what you did with the trade. How much do I make? When I lose, how much do I lose? And look if you can develop that ratio. On WaveTech, we have a thing called the ER ratio, which is the effectiveness ratio, where you can develop your own personal effectiveness ratio. And what it does, it basically looks at your percent right, what my average win versus my average loss is. I get a ratio there, and I multiply that number times my percent right, and it needs to come out to at least 100. 100, the perfect ratio would be that you have 10 trades. I was right 5 times. I made $2 for every dollar I lost. So in the end, I made $10, lost 5. I'm $5 up. That's how you make money. And if your ratio is not 2 to 1, if your ratio is 2 to 1, but you're only 40% right, you're going to make less money. To maintain that 100, your ratio has to be 2.5 to 1. So the less accuracy, the bigger amount you have to make on trades. So those Americans that know the song "Know When to Hold 'Em," Kenny Rogers, "Know When to Hold 'Em, When to Fold 'Em," that's what it's about, is knowing how to cover these trades and how to make those decisions. And you might think you're doing a pretty good job, but if you haven't tracked your trade by trade statistics like that, you have no clue what you're giving up, and then that causes you to go back to some other ideas, especially in discretionary trading. Maybe one day I will do not listening to the others, and you shouldn't be here, that's for sure. I think it's okay to listen to others as long as you can maintain your consistency. And there's a whole lot of things. Maybe one day I'll just do like a mini master class about being a discretionary trader. Nothing about PPMs or any of Bob Kendall stuff, but just talking about just that. That probably would be a good video to do for sure. And I think there'd be a lot to be gained, because there's a lot of things that you need to know in making good decisions, evaluating your decisions, all that stuff. So that's exactly what we've gone. Now I still have the Dragon Head up here, and there's a couple things that I'm going to show you about the market grid right now as we're talking, because I think the Dragon Head kind of did try to slope down a little bit, then it goes sideways. We went from this Dragon Head, and when you see the market grid expand, you're going to see this tomorrow in tonight's market grid when it comes out. we're going to start to see this expansion because of the last 3 days volatility. And it's just like I've talked about this. There's a video on the channel, the difference between the market grid versus Bollinger Bands. Those are things that were, Bollinger Bands are standard deviations. The market grid has to do with, it actually looks at deviations only on a day-by-day basis. It's not looking at standard devs. So it's a different calculation, but they both have similar characteristics. When certain things happen, that's why these dragon heads, you see the expansion, and the RXT and the STX numbers get really big. They broaden out, and then the market is just telling you there's more volatility to come. And if there is a trend involved, then you're going to see this. So all I can say is today was the 5th day up in this pattern. We're going to get a 535. I don't see us getting 8s, but who knows? This thing's out of control. Good chance we got 3 days coming. I'm looking forward to the video tonight, all that stuff. And yeah, and that's the other thing. I see some chat going on is this is another thing that's important. Position sizing is everything. Knowing how much risk you should take on any one thing. Too many people are, they're poker players, and you're too much pushing all in. This is my trade. I'm going in. You get hit and you get wiped out. You don't want to be too diverse, but you want to make sure you understand the amount of risk that you're taking if you're wrong. And we need just to do a whole session. I need to set up a PowerPoint. And matter of fact, I found recently a 1990s presentation I used to do called How to Become a High Percentage Trader. And maybe I should get that thing and dig it out from the archives, update it a little bit. There's a lot of really good stuff in there. Probably to do that, it's probably, I'm going to guess, maybe an hour or so. And yeah, and I see somebody going, if I don't understand something, then, I'm very cautious. If you don't understand anything, don't be involved at all, right? That would be it. I agree with you, Mr. Richardson, 100%. A lot of people do that. They put in big trade. This is it. I've been waiting for it. They put it in. They make a bet. You have a lot more fun going to a horse track or betting on horses. My dad was a gambler. He loved betting on the horses. He died many, many years ago and got cancer, and he used to always bet off-track horses. And I gave him a bunch of money because what do you give a guy that's terminally ill? I gave him what he loved, and he just got to bet. And I made a joke with him. If he made $1 million, I got 10%. And he had so much fun with that. But he was pushing all in all the time. He ultimately lost all the money I gave to him. But he had fun doing it. It was probably the most distracting thing that he could do, and it was a good thing. But that's not what we're talking about here. This is why WaveTech's out there. Portfolio Expert is on a soft launch right now, and you can actually go to the website and get a 14-day trial of Portfolio Expert. There's a lot of things you can do there. Go to our website. You can get WaveTech. You can do that. Go to Portfolio Expert, and you can you can sign up easily by going in and setting up an account and see if I get, okay, yeah. So you go open an account. There's 3 access points now. WaveTech Research Tool, $97 a month. It is $297 for the next level tool. And next week we're going to start doing, there's going to be videos coming out next week on how to use this and how to do dynamic indexing, do some really cool stuff. And I got, and I don't think I've seen him on, but I'm going to reach out to him afterwards. I'm just looking at some of the, but we have a subscriber that's been really active, really diligent. He just sent me some results of stuff that he's done that, he's getting like 347% returns using his software. I haven't seen him around, so maybe if he's on and he knows who I'm talking to, but talking about him. But yeah, yeah. So anyway, yeah. So thanks, Gregory. I'm going to go here in a minute anyway. So I'll play you guys a few minutes of music to sign out, and I actually have music that YouTube won't penalize me because I don't own the library, but a good friend of mine does. He's given me his whole library and said just use it as I want, and he's got everything that he doesn't have on iTunes. I can put out there and not get monetized. Yeah, there is, Josh. There is an offer. There is a 14-day trial. That's exactly for the portfolio expert. On WaveTech, there is no trial, but there, as you go through the month on WaveTech, it's $3. I think roughly $3.12 a day, and that will get you. If you wait till mid-month, you have a couple weeks. It'll cost you under $50 to do it, and that's a pretty cheap way to get on there. That's funny. I never thought about it, but Trump's hair is sort of a mullet, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, Antonio. It's kind of funny though. Oh yeah, you did. I will do Twitter right now. Okay. Sorry about that, man. I just get kind of in mad scientist mode. Okay. Somebody paid up. They asked for Twitter. They get it. I think I covered everything else, but let's bring up Twitter. All right. This is daily. Big gap down, rallying back. Let me just get this under control here. Screens are a little jacked up. Okay. Yeah, you get resistance here right at the 34.60. I'm sorry. Let me get the numbers right here. At 44.85. And you get downward slope ppm 1.41. This thing's going to consolidate here. It came very close to its 200-day moving average. So this is probably going to be the floor down in this lower end of this range. Let me do the weekly. And thanks for reminding me of that, man. Appreciate it. So yeah, so here we got a reversal going on a weekly basis. I talked a lot about this, I think in not this week's live stream, but the previous week, that a lot of these stocks were going to go down to their 21 period moving average. That was going to be the support level. So this would have been the point this week, the 21.39.52, the low 38.50.93. We're back at the 10. Probably going to see the market grid turn back up as we come into next week. And oh, and okay, yeah, so TWTF, okay, we'll do that as well. Yeah, I don't TWTF. I can't get that. Hang on. Yeah, that symbol doesn't come up. TWTF. Yeah, Christopher, I would like to add silver. I think I saw silver was ready to blow up too last night, and I just Yeah, it's just sometimes a matter of time. Last night was just like get her done because it was so late in the morning. I think I finished at 2 a.m. my time, Mountain Time last night. So yeah, it was a rough night last night. Um, yeah, I'll tell you what. Since the metals is moving today, I will try to cover it tonight. I'm just gonna make a note to myself. Yeah, Pirate Pete. Yeah, thanks. You know, and the hard work I did this is what I've been doing for 20 years. I used to just write daily commentary. So I've been doing this for a long time, and I converted my daily commentary, which took about 3 hours to write, into daily videos. And by doing that, we've all benefited. You folks get to see the work, my thoughts every day, and it's easier, actually, I think, to do the videos than it is sometimes to write them out. In fact, the reason why the videos came into play was because it got so complex to try to write it back in February. So I started doing the dailies, and it's been a good thing. Yeah, I think everybody wants to know that, Garden Chick, you know? And I do think it's going to be unclear for weeks. And yeah, some crazy stuff. I don't know what, I was watching, I don't know if you folks are Dave Chappelle fans or not, but I was watching a video from last year that somebody put up of Chappelle on this series that's out there. And he was talking about we live in this world that you don't know what anything is. You don't know what's real, what's not real. So it's like the term gaslighting is become very popular again. But gaslighting was an old movie back in, I think it was in maybe even the 40s, a very old black and white movie. It's actually one of my favorites because the husband is making his wife crazy, thinking she's not doing things she said she's doing things he's just gaslighting her. That's where that came from. But if you haven't seen that movie, watch that. Yeah, you're welcome, Mrs. Angelina. Um, yeah, so everything. So I'm going to put up a splash screen. I'm going to play one of my buddy's songs. It was pretty popular the other day. So I will put that up and just see what see what see what you guys think. And I will be on video tonight. And if it's crazy tomorrow, I'll be here again. So thanks again for watching. Thanks for being part of the channel. Subscribers, software users, institutional folks, everybody. Thank you. I really appreciate it.